By definition, weeds are simply plants that grow in areas that you do not want them to grow. Welcome to the channel, folks. My name is John Moody, and this is the Johnny Learns Gardening YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about identifying weeds, or the types of plants they are, and what benefits they provide. Let's do it. I live in a 3-bedroom ranch-style home in the city of Warren, Michigan. And before marriage and children, it was always my goal to have a pristine lawn. This is my neighbor across the street. So this is my lawn now. So if you guys have been following me, and you guys know that I've been trying to do this thing where I say some movie lines, and my goal for you to participate is to guess the movie. Anyway, if you couldn't tell, I have a lot of influence from movies. And I say that to say, have you ever seen the movie The Big Hit, starring Mark Wahlberg, Lou Diamond Phillips, among others? Christina Applegate is in there, Bokeem Woodbine. There's a lot of, it's an older movie. And there's a quick scene where it was about three, I think, neighbors were all on electric lawnmowers and doing the same thing. And basically, they were all, taking care of their lawn in the same fashion. And that was kind of my inspiration to keep up with my own lawn. Well, life is very challenging. I've always been a hard worker. I've always been working a lot of hours, always trying to make that money. Adding in marriage, my priorities changed, and I was in love and wanted to do everything for my wife. Adding in kids, my priorities changed again. Got to take care of the children, got to be there for them. They're very needy. Their attention, they crave a lot of attention. So therefore, some things have to be let go. Oh yeah, how could I forget the dogs? So before Snickers here, we had Eleanor and Theodore together. Rest in peace, Theodore. Love you very much. We still have Eleanor, but she's an old lady. I have pulled these up so many different times. I made a home homemade weed killer, and it worked pretty good actually. But I just sprayed it and left it, and then they kind of just came back. So here's the garden, and 3 years ago when I started this, I had enough to keep me busy to worry about the weeds. In addition to that, I didn't want to spray any chemicals around my vegetables. And with all of the YouTube watching that I'm doing, I've come across bits and pieces of information. And I've learned that certain types of weeds have certain types of benefits. So, I say all that to say, I cannot make a decision for myself to save my life. Some people say weeds are beneficial, they help the soil. For me, I just don't want them taking over my garden. I understand that it's inevitable and they will show up. I've seen lots of videos with all of these professional gardeners or professional YouTubers, and they still have weeds in their garden. So all of the efforts to keep them down, they still have them. So it's not a big deal. I'm not tripping. However, for those of you that don't know, I am an 80s baby, and I don't know what year this cartoon came out, but I can specifically remember it had to have been Looney Tunes. But anyway, like an earlier version of Looney Tunes when it came out. None of the classic characters. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I can remember these cartoon flowers. I think they were tulips. Not that that matters, but then I remember a cartoon weed coming in and choking the flowers. So ever since then, I don't even know how old I was when I saw it. 8, 7, 6, somewhere around there. But yeah, I will never forget it, I guess. And that was kind of my motivation to keep these weeds from choking out my vegetables. So yeah, in the past, I would have had no problem at all. Just go ahead and spraying the weed spray that saves your lawn or throwing down some weed and feed. But ever since I have the garden, this is what it has turned into. To keep it completely 100 with you, I do not know all of the different types of weeds. I do not know how exactly they come to your lawn. I have my own theories. I've heard some things. I don't know what's true. Anyway, the dandelion, for example. Once they turn into that fluffy thing where you used to blow them and make a wish, I'm assuming that's one way that many of these weeds get here is through the wind. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm wondering if pollinators have something to do with the transfer of some certain weed seeds. So I've invited the bees to my garden, and maybe they're getting pollen from certain plants and bringing it this way, and it's somehow making its way into my lawn and garden. And of course, there aren't any out right now, but usually we have a bunch of birds on the wires just chilling. So I hear them. They're in the trees, I guess, but they can also, I assume, transfer seeds from plant to plant and yard to yard. So I'll go ahead and start with the dandelion. Growing up, they were always a cool little flower to pick for your mom. In fact, my children have done the same for theirs. I never really cared. They were just a different plant that has grown in the lawn. With all of this YouTube watching that I've been doing for my garden, I have learned that dandelions are a very beneficial plant. It's edible. You can eat the flower, you can eat the leaves, and you can even make the soup, or excuse me, you can even make the roots into a soup. I have never done any of that. I have no intentions of doing any of that. I could just go ahead and pick a flower off and try it right now, but I don't want to. But it's cool to know that if necessary, you could survive, or at least it could help you. It's cool to know that you can eat every part of the dandelion if you absolutely had to. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure exactly, but I've also learned that dandelions are rich in a lot of antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. So, do I want to get rid of these? In the front yard, I have used the little tool to pluck them all out, but in the backyard, I've kind of just left them alone. I've also heard that they improve your soil. The roots grow so far down that it improves aeration and drainage. So, am I going to worry about it and try to get rid of them all, or do I just let them live free and be happy? The next one that I'm going to identify is the purslane. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Snickers, get out of here, man. But I hear this too is also edible. Same thing. I have absolutely no intentions of ripping this out of the cracks of my sidewalk, and I have no intentions of eating it. Just like the dandelion, I'm sure they provide some type of vitamins and minerals. If you really want me to look it up, I can. Between now and editing, I probably will. But yeah, purslane. And there's all these different types of grasses. I'm honestly not sure if this is a type of crabgrass. It has grown all in there. I have ripped them out. They continue to grow. You can tell it's different than the other grass. Or is it just a different variety that just grows because I don't do anything with it? I don't know. Are there any benefits? I don't know. Back over here in the fire pit, it's a pretty good showcase of all the different weeds that grow in my yard. But yep, got plenty of purslane. I don't really know what that is. And then there's a lot of stinging nettle. So I had to learn the hard way when I used to pick these by hand that I should probably wear some gloves. And then still got the dandelions all over the place. So as far as the stinging nettle, I think that's it over here. Same thing. I've heard that you can eat them, make them into a soup. Do I have any intentions of doing so? No. Same thing. It's nice to know that you can if you had to. Then I have a bunch of these, I'm assuming clover patches. So I have some here by the fire pit. Can't really tell, but this was a pretty big clover patch underneath the trampoline. Then I don't know what that is. I don't know what these purple things are. And over the years in the past, when I take the weed trimmer and trim this stuff, there's a certain type of odor that comes from them. And I've taken pictures and I've Googled it, and Google says that they are a wild garlic variety. So I don't know if my neighbor has tried to grow garlic and it has made its way over here. Um, I don't think that they're the traditional garlic bulbs. So I don't know if they eat this and use it for whatever. I should ask them. But yeah. And in this corner, I have a lot of these. So I don't know what they are. But they have that shape of leaf, and then there's that little dark spot in the middle. And I guess this has gone to flower, so it's probably going to spread some more. But yeah, they were all really tall all around here. I ripped them up. And yeah, Does anybody else know what they are? And then as many times as I've ripped this vine thing out, it keeps coming back. So I'm not sure what type of vine this is that grows all along this fence and all over these sticks. And then I had one of these growing in my rose bush out front, so they have made its way to this plant back here. Then there's this guy. So my dad planted this flower. It is significantly different than what this is growing in right here. I don't know what this is or how this got here, but it's obviously been neglected and it has been allowed to grow into what it is today. Actually, I think it's the same kind of plant as that over there. It somehow made its way over to this corner. But yeah, so that is my dilemma. I want a pristine, clean looking lawn based on what I think everyone else wants, what I think I want. It does look nice, I'm not going to lie. At the same time, I also want to allow nature to take its course and improve my soil when it thinks it needs improving. I also do not want to spray any poisonous chemicals that could somehow get to my vegetable garden. I do not want to eat it. I do not want to feed it to my children. Yeah, so of the few weeds that I did identify and talked about their benefits, is it really that beneficial? I don't know. You guys, if you guys have anything to say, let me know in the comments. But yeah, I am not the neatest nor most organized person in the world, but every once in a while I try to be. So what do I do? All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Until next time, take care now. Bye bye then.